Good morning to you. This is the front page review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Gesire Agua. You're welcome to the show this beautiful Wednesday morning. It's the 8th of May 2024. You're welcome once again. Now on the show today, you know that at 7:30 we'll be joined by Rufai, Oseni, and right after that, Mr. Larry Ogwego, our guest analyst, will be joining the conversation as well. Somewhere at 7:15, we check out who said what, some of the trending audio from some of the biggest stories on the news today. We'll be having all that on the show this morning. Now, yesterday or over the course of the weekend into the week, Nigerians have been asking where the president is. Now, the presidency has come out to say, okay, the president will return to Nigeria on Wednesday from Europe. How opaque, how vague a statement. The president has said that President Bola Tinubu, the presidency rather, has said that President Bola Tinubu would return to Nigeria on Wednesday from his trip to Europe. The essay on information and strategy to the president, Bayo Nanuga, made this known in a statement via his X handle on Tuesday. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, along with his aides, will return to Nigeria tomorrow from Europe. This is what he said. If you recall, the president left Abuja on April 22nd for the Kingdom of the Netherlands on an official visit. The presidential spokesperson, Ajirin Gelali, said the president was visiting the Netherlands on the invitation of the Prime Minister, Mark Rutte. And the president proceeded to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to attend a special WEF meeting between April 28th and 29th after the engagement in the Netherlands. So we've been expecting the president in the country since the 29th, and all of a sudden, he went MIA. The president was expected back in the country after the forum in Saudi Arabia, but the president is yet to return from the trip to Europe, fueling speculations about his whereabouts. So, where has the president been? It's not enough for the presidency to come out and tell us, okay, the president will return to Nigeria from Europe on Wednesday. Europe is not a country. Europe is a continent. Where in Europe? Pinpoint the place. What was he doing there? Was it for business or was it personal? What exactly was he doing there? Because he's our number one citizen, and every Nigerian has the right to know where the president was. Because whether you like it or not, taxpayers' funds are being used to, to finance some of these movements. So Nigerians deserve the right to know where the president has been for the past how many days. Today is Wednesday, May 8th, and we're having how many days in between? Over 8 days in between since the president was set to return on the 29th of April till now, the 8th of May 2024. So where has the president been and what was he doing? That's what a lot of Nigerians want to know at this point in time. So there's a lot of drama brewing in Rivers State. There's an attempt to impeach the governor, Fubara. Rivers government warns the APC about trying to impeach Fubara. And let's see how all that plays out. The NLC and CSOs are also knocking the government over the electricity tariff reduction, the N18 electricity tariff reduction as well. Moving on to NEMA, they've advised those living in flood-prone communities to start relocating now. The agency also called for the monitoring of dams and clearing of debris in water bodies by relevant authorities to prevent blockages and the creation of detention dams. We know that the raining season is about to be upon us, and we do not want to be caught with our trousers down. We want to be prepared for that particular event. It rains cats and dogs here in Nigeria, so we want to be sure that we're not caught unawares this time around. Our people are safe, their properties also are safe as well. So NEMA is coming out to say those living in flood-prone areas should start relocating now. It's not just a relocation though, NEMA. You have to look at some of the cost implications of the relocation. What exactly is it going to look like for Nigerians? Well, let's see how all that plays out. Moving on to this issue of Cyber Security Levy, Labour has come out to say that the Cyber Security Levy will worsen hardship in Nigeria And they're saying that this newly introduced levy by the CBN should be withdrawn. On Tuesday, they signed a statement by the president, Joe Ajaero, and they talked about the fact that the levy was another anti-people policy for the government imposed amid economic hardships. The NLC vehemently condemns the recent directive by the CBN to levy a 0.005 Cyber Security Levy on electronic transfers. This levy is to be implemented by reduction at the transaction origination and is yet to be a burden on the shoulders of hard-working Nigerians. Well, that is what is being said at the moment about that particular levy. We also see in the news that Governor Sule is in the news at the moment, and he's talking about Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State yesterday said his administration has offset over 50 billion naira worth of loans inherited from the previous administration in the state. Well, should our state governors be barred from taking loans that exceed their tenure? Should they not be barred? Because when we have issues like this, you begin to wonder just how well governance is going to be handled in that particular state if you look at some of the situations that we find ourselves in. Well, there's a rehabilitation that has been done of the Senate main chamber, and the Senate Chief Whip, Ali Ndume, yesterday criticized the renovation of the inner part of the main chamber of the Senate, saying it looks more like a conference room. He said apart from the sitting arrangements being improper, the chamber does not only lack electronic voting devices, but has poor microphones. The Senate resumed plenary last week in its main chamber after over 2 years of sitting in a temporary hearing room. But before it adjourned for this week, there was a disagreement over sitting arrangements by some ranking senators. When yesterday's sitting began, Ali Ndume said the sitting arrangements should be adjusted and the equipment required in the chamber made to meet standard. He said this is not a chamber, it's like a conference room. You will not even know what it is. You will not even know that it is me that is speaking. So also when the leader is speaking as well, we need to correct this and we need to change so many things like the sitting rows and all of that. Well, the question is, how much was put into the rehabilitation of the Senate's main chamber? How much was put into it, and why are we getting these complaints from the chief whip? Well, according to Ali Ndume, he said this is a serious observation. If you play back the record, you cannot identify Senate President's voice. You will have to listen hard, but the audio is supposed to be very, very clear. Well, let's see how this particular conversation will be had with Mr. Rufai Oseni. Now, the FCDA in March 2021 awarded a 30 billion naira contract for the renovation of critical segments of the National Assembly complex to a local firm. What did they do to the rehabilitation of the National Assembly complex? Well, we'll see how that conversation will play out with Mr. Rufai Oseni in just a moment. States and local governments are set to receive 90% VAT revenue. This is according to the Tinubu panel. The Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms has proposed reviewing states and local governments' share of the value-added tax revenue to 90% and reducing the federal government's share from 15 to 10%. The panel also recommended an upward review of the current 7.5% rates charged to customers. The chairman of the committee, Taiwo Yedele, disclosed this at a stakeholders exposure and impact assessment session organized to discuss some of the major proposals in the national tax policy in Abuja. The proposals were part of the reforms being introduced to boost the nation's tax revenue. And according to them, they're proposing that the federal government's portion should be reduced to 10% from 15%, states' portions to be increased, but they would share 90% with the local governments. This is what they've been, talking about with business owners, industry players, and other stakeholders, according to the meeting on Monday. Now, the strategic meeting is a vital aspect of engaging stakeholders, ensuring the successful implementation of tax reform policies devised by the current administration to attain a minimum tax to GDP ratio of 18%. If you recall, the president had inaugurated the Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee last August to improve the nation's revenue profile and business environment by eliminating multiple taxes. Now, VAT is a 7.5% consumption tax administered by the FIRS when goods are purchased and services are rendered. Now, the final consumer bears the tax burden. If you look at taxes that we are paying at the moment, it seems to be a lot. It seems to be a lot on Nigerians. We'll check out what's trending based on, audio. And we get to find out what is being said in close quarters about the different issues currently plaguing the country, plaguing Nigerians at this point. We'll check all that out in a bit. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. So we'll be checking out this statement made by Adetunji Adeyeye, the electricity market specialist for Gencos, talking about the downward review of electricity tariff was due to the gains of the Naira. And let's check out what exactly he had to say about this. Take a listen.
Abati, to answer your question in plain English, I would say no. The reduction that has happened through the May 2024 supplementary order of the multi-year tariff order by NEC is actually a reaction to the macroeconomics that goes around in the power sector. Don't forget that the tariff is a building block, and the building block of many macroeconomics factors, exchange rate being one of them, the volume of electricity available being one of them, inflation index being one of them, also the availability of gas and the gas transportation being one of them. So what has happened since the initial 2024 MITO order that set that 225 price? There's a lot of changes that has happened, and we must commend NEC and government for the policy direction they are going to follow through it now. So what NEC has done is to immediately, on a real-time basis, adjust to the macroeconomics indices that is shifting. So this is a testament to the fact that they say whatever goes up must come down. This is what is happening. So dollar, if you check in the past few days before now, has started coming down. There has been also an adjustment to our inflation. There has also been an increased volume in the system in terms of electricity. So these are all the building blocks that form the tariff. And when NEC now checks on a monthly basis to do their minor adjustment, they saw that there's some gain, and therefore they reflected that gain in reviewing down the price. And this to show Nigerians that at least the policy direction of government and NEC now is a good one and is the right step that will ultimately increase power, because you can now be sure that every month that NEC does this adjustment, they are going to respond to the market indices. And of course, electricity is a commercial product which responds to microeconomics factors. So as long as we have stability in our market forces, you're going to see prices coming down. So to swing it other way to say that it's about protest or threat of protest, no, I think NEC has started doing the right thing. And by the way, the multi-year tariff order is adjusted 6 months. But because of the volatility in our system, NEC decided to take the plunge and say we'll be adjusting every month. So if dollar keeps going down, if inflation keeps coming down, electricity tariff will be coming down as well, whereas it gives also the discos the needed cash to begin to improve and provide efficiency. So I think ultimately, if we follow through, and some of the earlier news items that they report in terms of what is happening, the unbundling of TCN, are the things that ultimately will give us the guaranteed power that we seek in this country.
All right.
All right. Well, that is the voice of Adetunji Adeyeye, who is the electricity market specialist for GENCOs, shedding a light on what exactly is happening in the electricity sector, especially the electricity tariff order. At the moment, Band A, or rather before now, Band A, their tariff was increased from 68 naira to 225 naira per kilowatt per hour. So right now we're seeing a reduction to about 206 thereabout kilowatts per hour, and Nigerians are also talking about the fact that it's still high. But he's saying that no matter what happens, the NERC is going to react to the dollar or the movement of the dollar in the economic scene. So once the cost of production increases, definitely the tariff will be going up as well. Well, that's what he had to say. Now moving on to the commentary on the state of the nation at the moment. The former essay to the ex-president Muhammadu Buhari on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, talked about the State Assembly ensuring that loan repayments from project funds should be done from project funds and not Federation account. He's been talking about loans and how they should be handled with the State Assembly. Let's take a listen.
I am making reference to the failure of the National Assembly to do what they ought to do when they ought to do. I am not in any manner referring exclusively to the 10th Assembly. I'm referring to the Assembly, I think a little bit from the 7th Assembly where I was, but it got worse in the 8th Assembly, 9th Assembly, and it is continuing till today. How do I mean? When you have a project budgeted and money is released for that project, and you are going to see the extent to which that project has been implemented, you should go to interview the minister, look at the project executed, and how much was budgeted, you have it. How much is been released, the permanent secretary and the minister has it. What has the project been executed to the extent of the amount released, you have it. And when you come back, you lay the report on the floor, you lay the report of your committee on the floor. That report will be considered, and if considered and passed, in the next budget season, they will know whether it were a road, what should be appropriated to that road, and what should be not be appropriated. Take again the question of when you approve loan for a state to take, or you approve loan for a facility. The National Assembly has oversight responsibility. First, not just after approving. Before you approve, you look at the project they want to execute with that loan. You examine the project, and you also see the cash flow, the possible returns, and ensure that it is the money that will come from that project that will be used in repaying that loan, and not oil money. We have problem today of the challenge of the naira against the dollar. Now, what are we doing with our dollars? we are using that to repay the loan that we're taking. And of course, ministers have always told us consistently that our revenue is almost at par with our expenditure, and sometimes almost exceeding the expenditure. What are we doing with the revenue? We are repaying debt. Why should we use the revenue we generate today to repay the debt that we took in yesteryears? We should ensure that it is through the oversight responsibility of the National Assembly on the debt management committees, loans, aid, and debt management committees, to ensure that, yes, we approved the loan to be taken. This is what it was used for. We've gone to see what that state used the money for. We've gone to see what the federal government used that money for. And it is that money it is the source from which that money was invested that is repaying the loan.
Well, is this what is attainable at the moment? That is the question this morning. Is that what is attainable at the moment? Now, there's been a lot of conversation because the chairman of Ikere Ekiti local government area of Ekiti State, Olu Adamolekun, has sworn in his advisors and supervisors of wards in the local government with a cutlass. The video was making rounds on social media. The appointees are seen taking turns wielding a cutlass, which is a totem believed to be from the god of iron, in one hand and either Quran or the Bible in the other. And the swearing-in ceremony was coordinated by the local government chairman on May 2nd at the chairman's office conference hall. Well, if you don't fear God, at least you should fear Ogun. Maybe we should have our presidents get sworn in with something like that. Maybe we'll have the governors and others. Maybe they will have the fear of Ogun when they're dispensing their duties. Well, there's this particular audio that was making rounds on social media, especially as conversations about the Cyber Security Levy and others have been had on social media. Over 300,000 conversations and counting on Twitter about cybersecurity. And some people have been saying, how did Nigerians offend this ruling party, right? Increase fuel price, increase in electricity tariffs, increase in import duty multiple times, increase inflation, now increasing in bank charges by adding cybersecurity charges as well. You have, when it comes to your banking sector, you have the Cyber Security Levy, you have your bank charges, card maintenance fee, you have your stamp duties, you have your cash deposit charges for individuals and corporates, even though the CBN governor has directed that everyone should hold off on the deposit fee, the deposit charges for individuals and corporates. There's also speculation. Some people have said in the last 1 week, the president's government has banned crypto P2P on every platform, increased tax by 14% on importers, put a 0.5% cybersecurity levy on every banking transaction made. Things have gotten harder. Once again, things have gotten harder. So fuel went from 180 to 690, dollar rates from 600 to 15. Cybersecurity levy added to bank charges. Poverty level went from 60% to 87%. Insecurity in the country is now over the roof. Corruption is on the rise in the country like we've never seen before. But the minimum wage still remains the same in 2024. It's only 1 year. We've got 3 more years to go. I wonder what will become of the country at that time. This is what this particular message is saying. Well, the president had made a statement about taxes prior to his assumption in office as the president. Let's listen to what he had to say.
If we reduce the purchasing power of the people, we can further slow down the economy. Let's widen the tax net. Those who are not paying now, if it is inclusive of Bola Tinubu, let the nets get bigger and we'll take in more taxes, and that is what we must do. if we reduce the purchasing power of people, we can further slow down the economy. Let's widen the tax net.
So this particular audio has been trending on social media. Nigerians have been calling on the president that is this what he meant when he said let the poor breathe. At this point, a lot of people are getting choked every day with the amount of expenses they have to pay to the federal government in terms of taxes, in terms of increase in fuel prices, in terms of increase in market prices as well, staple foods and all of that. So a lot of people have been asking, is this what the president meant when he said let the poor breathe? Well, it is 7:32 at the moment. Let's reach out to Mr. Rufai Oseni to help us do justice to some of our headlines this morning, and we ask some pertinent questions as well. You can join the conversation. The number to call is 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. We're also live on YouTube as well. Voice of the People, Abuja. Good morning, Mr. Rufai, and welcome.
Morning, Jesse. How are you?
Fine, thank you so much. Well, the president is set to return to Nigeria today, even though, it's a very, very blanket statement. The president will return to Nigeria on Wednesday. Where was he? What was he doing? Where has he been all this time? Some of the questions Nigerians have been asking, but as usual, Bayo Nanuga failed to answer that particular question.
It's obvious that these people have total disregard for Nigerians, and it's obvious. So if we didn't raise the outcry, they're not going to tell us the whereabouts of the president, isn't it? Is that it now, Gessie? You see, we keep saying a government should be able to respect its people. What we are just asking for, President Tinubu came to Nigeria to seek their votes, and he was elected president. Where is he? He can't just leave the country for about a week and not tell us where he's going. That's just it. So it speaks volumes, Gessie.
All right, let's hope that when he comes in, we'll get a detailed breakdown of what exactly he did after leaving Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, 29th, after the engagements in the Netherlands as well. So hopefully we get to see or hear more about his whereabouts. So moving on, we're seeing Cyber Security Levy, and Labour is talking about the fact that it will worsen the hardships Nigerians have been facing. Now, there was a trending audio about the president made before he got into office, talking about widening the tax bracket. Can Nigerians afford that? Can we afford more taxes?
No, we can't afford more taxes, but that has always been his way. So if you look at the antecedents in Lagos, he ramped up taxes. So Nigerians should also be aware that he's definitely going to ramp up a lot of taxes like he's been trying to.
Well, at this point in
We've
time,
been looking for ways to ramp up these taxes all this while to no avail. And I think this cybersecurity one is going to be a new tool for him to be able to ramp up taxes and all.
well, you have to look at the sensitivity of the times that we're in, Mr. Rufai. Yes, it's one thing to try to generate revenue. If you ask me, are there no other ways? Are there no other means of generating revenue for the federal government, as opposed to right now that Nigerians are being faced with?
That's why he's raising taxes. If he knew better, he would look for the other ways to generate revenues. It's because he doesn't have other ways. That's why he's raising taxes.
So
that's
why then?
Reality. We can't just
Why then does he have an economic committee? Why then does he have technocrats and different individuals surrounding him?
But with all due respect, where is the money going to come from? I'm asking you. So tell me where the money is going to come from. You saw the FDIs. They didn't get any FDI deal in. You saw the lie about the messi deal. So where's the money going to come from? You know that crude oil production has slumped to about 1.1 million barrels per day now. So tell me where the money is going to come from. That's why he's doing all of this. Okay, you tell me. I want to jog your brain. Tell me where the money is going to come from.
I mean, Mr. Rufai, we have a train service, right? If at all we are serious about making money, why can't that particular transportation sector be thoroughly managed so that at least revenue can come in from there?
Yes, let me debunk your assertion. Do you know that to the tune of close to 50 to 60% of the operation services still be subsidized on the rail service? So you don't even have revenue there because government still pretty much subsidize the NRC, Nigeria Railway Corporation. It's not privatized there. So even all the operations, the train you are getting, that ticket that you're seeing that is still even at that amount is highly subsidized. Yeah, talk another one. I'm listening.
Mr. Rufai, let's check out some of the other projects that the president is building, right? So we have different roads that the president, that this particular administration is working on. Can we not have toll gates in those areas? Can we not have them? Hello.
Talk another one. You are the one talking about cybercrime tax, so you don't know Tollgates is a tax.
Okay, that's true.
Talk
That's
another
true.
one. Yes,
Mr.
so
Rufai,
you don't know Tollgates is a tax, too, Abi.
it just occurred to
You don't know
me.
Tollgates.
It just occurred to me that it is.
You don't know Tollgates is a tax. You see, that was why they removed tollgate fees that time. And they were now charging. I think it was something petroleum cap taxes. I think my memory is right, it was a trade-off between removing toll gates and increasing petrol prices and doing on your side. So toll gates too is a taxation on the people. Do you think anybody wants to pay toll? And that's why even this coastal region, a lot of people are shouting, there's still going to be toll collected on it. Do you think people like to wait till tomorrow? The second toll gate in Lekki is not working because people felt, how will you tax us on the first toll gate and you tax us on the second? And even the first toll gate, you saw what happened after NSAS. So toll gate is a taxation. Yeah, talk another one.
Okay, what about the oil sector? What about the different taxes that are being paid by companies in the oil sector? Isn't that enough? We have different companies paying for oil blocks. Isn't that enough to ramp up revenue for the government?
Guessing with due respect, so the oil sector, different companies paying for oil blocks. Hope you also know that Nigeria mostly have what we call PSC, production sharing contracts, with these companies. And at the end of these PSCs, Nigeria gets a fraction of most of these blocks. And with all of the taxation and everything, even when you sell condensate, the revenue is still not enough. And now crude oil production has been slumping. How will crude oil companies pay more taxes when they have production slumping? Talk another one.
So you mean that the only ways that government can raise money is through levying indirect taxes and direct taxes? That's the only way that we can have the government make money? Okay, let's say that this is the only way that the government can actually make money. How about waiting till things settle down for Nigerians? Because they're still facing a lot of issues. We still have the dollar dancing against the naira. We still have that particular issue. We still have insecurity. People are still not being able to feed at this point because of agricultural issues here and there. Some of the policies that the president has put in place to cushion that effect, we've not seen them come to fruition. So why can't we wait until things are better for Nigerians before introducing these taxes? Yes, okay, taxes might be the only way for the government to make money, but how about the perfect timing for some of these taxes?
You have a very strong point, Jesse, but one area I was even thinking you were going to talk about, you didn't talk about, is mining.
True.
So that's one sure area that can make money for us. You see, because most of the mining revenue are going away to corruption these days. Corrupt individuals are fleecing off all the mining revenue. So can we fix mining in such a way that we actually know the number of gold that goes out in Zamfara? And all of that comes into the line item. Do you know that when you look at, I think it was the last quarter, most of the companies that exported the most out of the country, in terms of rev, do you know that there was a company called Segilola Gold? I think that company was third or fourth. And they're into the golden mining sector. So there are lots of activity going on in mining. But because corruption pervades the air, so we are not getting the line input of this mining. So that's one. Secondly, another one I would have thought of that they should have looked at is to be able to bring in FDIs. That's another way we can get more money into the sector. And also, at the possibility of how these FDIs can sink into manufacturing and other sectors of the economy. But they've not done that over the years. Because you see, what really pushes governments is taxes gotten from the most sectors of the economy, especially SMEs. If you go and check in America and most developed countries, those are the ones that really pay most of the taxes, small businesses. But here, the sad reality is businesses are dying. So when some businesses are dying, how do you want them to thrive? I mean, those are the questions around.
Okay, so we have these very, very lucrative sectors looking at us in the face, but the easiest solution is to get Nigerians to pay more, even though they're already paying more. We already have high electricity tariffs. We already have a lot of things going for us, especially in the oil sector, looking at the market and all of that. So why can't we explore these options? Why can't we explore agricultural exportations and all of that? Before, we used to be one of the biggest cocoa exporters in Africa. All of a sudden, we are now focusing on only the oil and looking for ways to further impoverish Nigerians. The poverty line has further increased. Those whom the Muhammadu Buhari's administration said that they've lifted 100 million people out of poverty, those people have fallen below the poverty line.
So the truth has to be said. All those things you said is good, and that's why government also needs to look inward to be able to bring about all those conversations to bear. Because if we don't look inward, we don't get anywhere as a country. The problem with these governments is that they are not looking inward enough. And when you don't look inward enough, you make a lot of mistakes. And that's why you see that it keeps falling back on looking for ways to tax the people to be able to get more revenue in. So, but the question is, the people you are taxed, how much do they even have in the first place? I'm sure now they are going to tax transactions in the bank because they know that's where a lot of people make bank transactions. So that's from free money. Also, the legal implication we also look at is that the states too will not have rights to also be able to claim this revenue. You know, because you have an electronic transfer, taxation of some sorts, and overburdening these people with this level of taxation is just a reflection of the fact that government is not thinking. So it's just how we do things in this country.
All right. There's been calls to impeach Fubara. The Rivers APC are urging 27 assembly members to impeach Fubara now. I mean, the political crisis rocking Rivers State is creeping to a tipping point as the state chapter of the APC has issued a standing order to 27 APC members in the House of Assembly to immediately commence an impeachment process on Governor Siminalayi Fubara. What exactly is your take on this?
I mean, let's see how that will go back, and it's for him to fight for his mainstay. So this is the beginning of Fubara's political battle. He will have to fight. If he succeeds, he will sail to the top. But if he doesn't succeed, he will crash, and that will be the albatross. So. Happy fighting for Fubara.
Let's see how all that plays out for him. Mr. Rufai, I don't know if you caught up with the chief whip of the Senate, Mr. Ndume, talking about criticizing the renovations of the inner parts of the main chamber of the Senate, saying it looks more like a conference room. He talked about the 40 mics, talks about the sitting arrangements. Renovation of the inner parts of the main chamber of the Senate. He complained that the microphones were not working properly. I mean, hello. Hello. All right. I'll try to reconnect with Mr. Rufai so we can have this conversation on the renovation of the National Assembly and how it has been poorly done. All right. We're trying to reach out once again to Mr. Rufai so we can finish this conversation. And we know that a 30 million naira was earmarked for the renovations of some parts of the National Assembly, right? So we know that Godswill Akpabio, however, he has blamed the lapses on the leadership of the Ninth Assembly and the FCDA management, or some of the issues in the renovations of the National Assembly. He's blamed the lapses on the leadership of the Ninth Senate and the FCDA. And you begin to wonder, who's the leadership of the Ninth Senate? Are you not at the top of it? So, looking at all that, let's see how 30 million naira was spent to renovate some parts of the National Assembly, and how come we're hearing complaints about those renovations that were done. So, all right, we're trying to reconnect with Mr. Rufai, but we have NEMA telling 33 governors to relocate people from flood-prone areas. Relocate people from flood-prone areas. This is what NEMA is telling 33 state governors. Those living in flood-prone communities should start relocating now so that it can prevent any issues of people dying, properties being lost, and all of that this particular raining season this year. So moving on to security, we have panic as gunmen abduct 13 in a raid on Abuja village, and they demand 900 million naira ransom. Gunmen stormed Pico, a remote community in the Buhari area council of the FCT, on Sunday night, kidnapping 13 persons and demanding 900 million naira ransom. The operation, which reportedly lasted for about an hour without any resistance, marks the latest in a series of attacks on the council. A community source, Chief John Jatau, confirmed that among the kidnapped were 10 residents from his domain, including 4 nomadic Fulani herdsmen. He noted that 1 out of the 4 Fulani captives managed to escape from the kidnappers' custody. He identified the victims still in captivity. He called out their names and detailing the incident, he said the kidnapping incident occurred last night, being Sunday, the 5th of May, 2024, at about 11 p.m. The kidnappers raided the village for about 1 hour without any response or reaction from the community or outsiders. A major challenge the community has been in terms of communication to others was as a result of no telecommunication network in the village. So they picked people house to house. They picked about 13 people and later released 3. He further stated that the Madakin Pico informed him that the kidnappers have called and demanded 900 million naira as ransom. Some of these kidnappers, you just wonder. Look at the kind of people that you are kidnapping. Where do you want them to mop up 900 million naira from? 13 people, you release 3. So let's say 10 people, right? 10 people, 900 million divided by 10 people, that's 90 million each. Where are these people in the small villages? Where are they going to get 90 million each for ransom? I mean, you begin to wonder what's in the minds of some of these people. And if you recall, earlier this month, last month we had the FCT minister Nyesom Wike providing logistical support, things like motorcycles, to enhance security in hard to reach areas in the territory. So what have they been doing with these motorcycles? Are they really facing security issues right here in the capital of the FCT capital? Well, we go back and pay some bills. When we come back, we'll be joined by Mr. Larry Ogwego, and we can have some more conversations on this particular line of discourse this morning. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. This is still the voice of the people, 96.1 FM. We're still talking about the front page review on Voice of the People, 96.1 FM. We're checking out some of the trending stories in the news today. Well, we have Governor Sule talking about offsetting over 50 billion naira loan debt inherited since his assumption into office. He said yesterday that his administration has offset over 50 billion naira loan inherited from the previous administration in the state. He also talked about the fact that the governor disclosed while having critical stakeholders of the ruling APC in Lafia. He said though the removal of fuel subsidy by the president had brought hardships to the people, the money being shared across all tiers of government, however, had made it possible for his administration not only to offset the debt but also embark on development projects and save for the future of the state. The president, he said, the president has done a wonderful thing to say the money derived from the removal of fuel subsidy should be shared among the federal, state and local governments. And he's talking about the fact that Nasarawa state will get to use a certain amount of money and they're getting twice of that. And that's the reason they've been able to do whatever they're doing right now. And with all due respect to his predecessors, he's not sure if they have ever seen the kind of resources some of them are seeing, and this is all over the different states. Well, what exactly is your governor doing with his own share of the money realized from fuel subsidy? What exactly is your governor doing about some of the projects that should be done in the states? Well, you have the opportunity to call 0700 010 961 961. Let's have a conversation talking about Cyber Security Levy and how the impact it will have on Nigerians. Let's also talk about the impeachment of Governor Fubara, what impact it will have on the people of the state. Also, we know that in Rivers State, APC said the impeachment process was necessary given the governor's blatant refusal to honor the peace agreement initiated by the president between Fubara and the minister of the Federal Capital Territory some months ago, and his recent declaration of the lawmakers' seats vacant. Mr. Larry, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Jason. Thanks for having me this morning.
All right, let's jump into it. The APC caucus of the state has set their 27 APC members in the House of Assembly to commence an impeachment process on Governor Siminalayi Fubara, talking about the fact that he breached the peace pact by the president between the minister Nyesom Wike and the governor of the state. What's your take on this?
One of the things I'm worried about is the fact that our politicians do not have any respect for the law and for the process of managing democratic issues. The APC state chairman in Rivers State actually said that they are instructing, or maybe that he is instructing the members of the State House of Assembly to impeach the governor because they wouldn't just stand arms akimbo to watch the governor deride the president. I was puzzled. Of course, I remember that Fubara also made certain statements. Excuse me. He alluded to the fact that the House of Assembly appears to exist at his pleasure at this time. So I noticed that they don't understand democracy. As a matter of fact, they don't understand democratic processes. How can a party chairman instruct members of a House of Assembly to impeach a governor? And he actually said that if they do not start impeachment proceedings, they will sanction them. And so we have a situation where we need to begin to think about sending some of these officials of government to school. We need to have an academy where they should go and understand the process of the rule of law and respect for democratic institutions and processes before they even get into governance. because this thing is becoming totally unacceptable. Where people speak as if they don't even or have any understanding at all of what democracy means. If the members of the House of Assembly think that the governor committed an impeachable offense, then they can proceed to discuss impeachment. And then we still have the controversy of whether their seats have been vacated or not, hanging over the House of Assembly. We saw the political solution that was brokered by Mr. President. And because of the things that happened, the state governor said, Fubara, that it's a political solution, and these guys are carrying on as if they are now both the House of Assembly and governor. That's everything they do, they veto the governor, and they say, oh, you must do this, you must do that. What I would have expected the APC chairman to do, alongside other political stakeholders, is to find a solution to this whole madness, because it's becoming really embarrassing. It has been embarrassing for some time, and it's getting worse. Just when you think they're going to fix it, it escalates. And what we are seeing now is a situation where someone is instructing members of the Assembly to impeach a governor. It's in very bad taste. It shows that he doesn't understand the meaning of democracy and how the House of Assembly is supposed to function. You cannot threaten them into impeaching a governor. It tells you that these guys don't even understand the meaning of democracy. We need to get to that point where the people should also be educated to the extent that they take stakes in political parties so that they won't permit this kind of thing to happen. The man was just talking as if he's in a village meeting. Even in a village meeting, there are procedures that should be followed. They say, oh, you tell them to impeach the governor. If they don't impeach the governor, we'll punish them. That we can't just stand and watch them. They ride the president. So your job is now to fight for the president. I think we need to really look into this Rivers matter. The elders of Rivers State should go beyond taking sides with governor or the House of Assembly and actually broker sustainable peace. The thing is not good for the states. That's it's not good for the state at all, because we're going to just waste 1 year talking about Fubara versus Wike versus members of the House of Assembly. I think they need to broker a sustainable peace. I mean, Fubara is already governor. They need to find a way to get the former governor to understand that Fubara is governor. Give him some space, let him lead. You know, I don't understand why this whole thing should continue. And I don't like the fact that it's escalating again. That maybe when it gets to that tipping point, they'll run around and put out the fire, only to allow the embers to be there. So after some time, the inferno will start again, they'll put it out again. They need to find a solution. I'm getting tired of this debilitating
reverse conversation.
Because the truth of the matter, it's not just about the conversation. I'm not really as tired of the conversation as I am about the incident of distracting us and then distracting the state and its leaders. Because now you find out the House of Assembly is focused on collecting their pound of flesh from the governor, trying to cage him in, and then the governor is focusing on trying to manage to remain governor without caving into the pressures of the House of Assembly and his predecessor. And why he's thinking like that, he cannot sit down to plan how to govern and develop Rivers State. That is what I've been saying. Our leaders don't plan. They don't sit down and think things through. You are talking about revenue and all of those things. These things don't just happen. If you want to make more money, whether you're a person, a company, or a state, one of the things you must do is to increase your income and reduce your expenditure, reduce your wastage. It's very simple. But for you to increase your income, there has to be a plan to increase income. For you to reduce your wastage, there has to be a plan to identify the wastages and reduce them. The governor cannot do all these things when he's always thinking about what the House of Assembly is going to come up with next, who is going to harass him next, who is going to respond to next. We should stop this cycle. And I trust that the people of Rivers State and the Niger Delta in general cannot watch River State continue to drift. Even Nigeria as a whole shouldn't watch River State drift, because, I mean, this is one state that was and is still critical to the economy of Nigeria. When you talk about the oil industry, you talk about River State. We are talking about a refinery that is not working. It's in River State. So I think we need to sit down and stop this cycle of madness, where this person will do something, the other person will respond, and this person, so they can't really settle down to governance. I think they should stop it. And I challenge the leaders of thought in River State and the Niger Delta to broker a sustainable peace that is not political, that doesn't pander to anybody's whims and caprices or emotions, to stop this cycle and allow Fubara to be governor. If some other person thinks that he wants power, let him wait. If Fubara doesn't want to worship him, like he said, let him get another person to worship him after Fubara. But I think we need to stop this.
All right, let's move on to cybersecurity, the cybersecurity levy, and Labour is talking about the fact that it will worsen hardship. I mean, I had a conversation earlier with Mr. Rufai, and we talked about the fact that one of the ways the government makes money is through taxes. So yes, we've established that, we understand that, but can this be more ill-timed than anything else? Because if you look at some of the issues that Nigerians are having to face at the moment, even if it's 500 naira, you can look at 500 naira and you think it's a little, but cumulatively it's a lot. It's a lot. 15 naira, 500 naira is a lot.
I think what we are doing is not fair to the people. I agree that government can make money and should make money through taxes. But then you have to actually check who you are taxing, when you are taxing the person, why you are taxing the person. That is why it means what you are going to do with the money, and the why should be transparent. I agree that government can and should raise money through taxes, but then there are so many different areas that you can apply taxation. And like I said, it's not only through taxes that government can make money. One of the things that this government must do is to plug loopholes, wastages, corruption. Nigeria is already very wealthy. I mean, we are mega wealthy. But the problem we have is that we don't prioritize, we don't manage money well, and then most importantly, we steal our own money. We steal ourselves blind, and we complain that we don't have money. And even the money we are raising, we will still steal it again. Because we are saying we don't have money, and we are doing 18 trillion on one road. Meanwhile, almost all the federal roads in Nigeria are just in tatters. So where are we getting that money from? So it's not even about taxing the people, but it's about what to do with the taxes. And it's about why must it be the people? You can tax luxury goods. You can actually tax the things that the ordinary Nigerians will not feel. We have a lot of luxury goods that people pay a fortune for in Nigeria. You are not taxing them enough. You should be taxing things that will not affect the common man. Or if the common man decides, for instance, to go and guzzle beer, it means that he has money to spare, so he can pay the taxes. That is what they do in other countries. You do selective taxation so that you can raise money without necessarily punishing the masses who have been punished enough, because they must do transactions and you are going to be collecting money from them. So I think we need to address this issue of raising more money for governance. There are so many things we can do differently, but we are looking for low-hanging fruits. As the government is looking for low-hanging fruit, just collect more money from the people, at every turn. And if somebody will be in the office and do a proposal to collect more money from the people. And another thing is, where are they going to domicile this money? The Office of National Security Advisor. Why? How does that work? And so you find out that I'm beginning to look at this money like some kind of slush fund, because when you raise that much money, transactions are commercial banks. They're already providing for their. Does it mean there won't be cyber attacks anymore? Does it mean that fraudsters won't work anymore? So if there's a cyber attack, what happens? Do they give me back my money that I lost? They won't do that. So I think it's ill-conceived. And most of the things we do actually are based on corruption and greed. When the average Nigerian politician conceives an idea or a project, he's not looking at the benefit of the people. The person is looking at his pockets. It's unfortunate, but that's the plain truth for now. Because when you see a project that is properly executed, you see the huge impact on the people. But most of the time, we conceive massive projects and we never even complete them. And then when you turn around and check, you see that you've spent billions of dollars. That's what we did with electricity. under the PDP, the first cycle of leadership. We wasted $16 billion and nothing came out of it. Absolutely nothing. East-West Road, nothing came out of it. Now we are doing another trillion and we are doing taxes. Nothing will come out of these things because they are ill-conceived. I've been talking about motive. What is the motive of the person collecting these taxes? Basically to create some kind of fund that tomorrow they'll tell us, oh, it's for cyber security. We don't have to tell you what we are doing so that the hackers and all of those people will not know. Then, so we know how the money is used. So they will just walk away with trillions. Some people are estimating 4 trillion. Some people are saying 5 trillion in 1 year if they implement this. But it's not fair to the people. They can find other ways to raise money. The mining industry is just there. People are taking advantage of it and they pretend they don't see it. The luxury goods are being imported anyhow, things we can make in Nigeria. The goods that are even harmful to Nigerians, they're not taxing them. They need to review this concept of just collecting easy money from people, basically to spend on their whims and caprices.
All right. Still looking at this cyber security levy and, just how much hardship Nigerians are facing. My concern is that it's ill-timed. More than anything else. I mean, yes, we're looking at the viability of these taxes and all of that and the intention behind it, how we know that security...
It's obviously insensitive. Apart from being airtime, it's insensitive. People are crying that they cannot find petrol, that they cannot see power, they can't run their businesses, they can't move from one place to another because of insecurity. They are trying to raise money for ransom when their people are kidnapped. And then you are slapping taxes on them. It's not only ill-timed, which I agree, it is insensitive. It means that these guys are not even hearing the cries of the masses. Because sometimes you need emotional intelligence to be a good leader. You need to know when to say, no, this is not the right time to do this, even if we want to do it. Let's wait a while. Let's begin to get some benefits from what may be some positive outcomes from some of the things we've done, so that when we now introduce this one, it won't be very hard on them or it won't look bad. But they're not thinking about that. They are just, as we are speaking now, and I'm sure they have more taxes or things up their sleeves, because that is the cycle. Just make more money anyhow. And it's insensitive. I think a person who is thinking about the welfare of the people, which is what is provided for in the Constitution, should be able to say, how will this thing impact the people? It's a legitimate question that we should all be asking, and they should ask even before us. How would this decision impact the people? How would they feel? How do we explain to them what we're going to do with the money? In fact, what are we even going to do with the money? How do we make these processes transparent so that the people will not complain? Would they have not started feeling the impact of the ones we did before? So how do we explain to them that we're going to do yet another, implement yet another policy that will put them under pressure? They're not asking those questions because they don't care. So the truth is that it's not only ill-timed, it's insensitive, it's ill-conceived, it's insensitive. Every in should be applied to this. And we need to get to that place where we have to find a way to make the government listen to the people. I mentioned the emperor syndrome, and some people felt I was stretching it. But you can see a situation where you don't even think about what we feel, what we think, and you just wake up and take decisions arbitrarily. That is what is happening. And more decisions are coming. And we have to get to a stage where the people may not be willing to take it anymore. I've been saying it repeatedly. The government should be more sensitive to how the people feel. And they should explore intelligently other ways of increasing revenue. And one way of increasing revenue is to provide security for Nigerians so that the business environment will improve, so that foreign direct investment can come and local investment and businesses will improve. And once business improves, then taxes will increase. Let me tell you something, and I think we can round up on this note. This is very important. If you want more milk from a cow, you feed it. If you want more milk from a cow, you feed it. If you want more meat from a cow, you feed it. You, the owner, will feed the cow first before you collect the meat. If you want Nigerians to pay taxes so that the government will become rich, create an enabling environment for Nigerians to raise money, generate money for businesses to open and thrive, then you tax the businesses. You don't go and milk a cow to death. That is what the government is doing now. When you milk the cow to death, you won't have any milk to collect anymore. So if they want Nigerians to pay taxes and be happy, create an environment that will make it possible for Nigerians to build the businesses that will pay the taxes and they won't complain. If you want to milk a cow and get plenty of milk, feed it so it will give you the milk and the meat you want.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for joining us, and very, very insightful conversation this morning. Absolutely appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. I just hope they're listening. They should feed this cow. They should feed us so that we can give them back what they want. Taxes, plus of the people.
All right. Have a good day.
And you too.
Thank you so much for listening to VOP 96.1 FM. We absolutely appreciate you. You have been most, most gracious, having us on your airwaves every single day, every single weekday, right here on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice. My name is Gesire, and this morning we will be having the trading post on from now up until 8:30, and then we'll have the sports bit at 8:30. Make sure you keep it locked right here. Gesire Agua is my name. Good morning.